What's going on, guys? Alan here with Parrots&Co, and in this quick video I just wanted to give an update from just a recent experience with Alfie, because I feel like it's always great to be able to share knowledge and experiences in case you guys ever run into certain issues or learning experiences, I would say, with your parrot. Good bird. A little snacky? Little snacky, buddy? Come on. No. Right here. Got no snacks over there. So recently with Alfie, I went about like 2 weeks without spending too much quality time with him because I got really busy with work. So, you know, he was still out of his cage. He was doing his thing. He was self-entertaining, being a good bird or whatever. But usually in the evening, what he really likes and really I think what helps with our bond is just like being able to spend that quality time together. And with that quality time, basically that includes either like training sessions or trick training or just kind of getting lubbies, as I call it, or head scratches for Alfie, to really just have him spend that time with me, because it's one of those things where I just say like, hey, quality time is important, and it's not just about having your cage out, having your bird out of its cage, but making sure that you are spending time with it while it's out of its cage, because if not, it's for the most part, you know, the same as him being inside the cage. And basically, you know, this whole kind of time frame that happened, 2 weeks, wasn't really able to spend a lot of time with him. And then recently what kind of ended up happening was, had him on his cage, went to go interact with him, and he was just kind of like standoffish, where he was like, I was like, hey Alfie, like, come here buddy, and ask him to step up, and he would kind of like walk away. And then I kind of noticed like he was putting his head down, basically saying like, in retrospect, like, I don't really want to. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, and kind of went to go sat down. And I went to go sit down. As I sat down, was doing work a little bit, and a situation came where I had to leave. I was heading out, and I went to go ask him to step up and grab him. And immediately what he did was he kind of like put his head down, I don't want to, and then basically he flew. He took a few laps around the room, landed back on his cage. But in that time when he was like flying away, he was like kind of squawking, and I just know Alfie, and when he does that, it's because something kind of upset him. And it's very important, I guess, like in that lesson, to know that just because you have a bond with your parrot doesn't mean that it's kind of like this right now, right? It's more like a privilege, and it's something that you have to maintain over time. And then at the same time, like, we have to remind ourselves that parrots aren't domesticated, so they have no desire to please us. And if we aren't constantly part of their lives, they kind of like tend to revert, maybe just even over like 2-3 weeks, like to their kind of natural behavior of either being like maybe a little bit shy, or becoming more independent and not really wanting anything to do with us because we're not like associating ourselves with them. So I thought that was a kind of very important lesson to learn as well. And then also making sure that you're understanding like your parrot's body language. And even if these little things happen, I always try to take a step back and say, how can I prevent it from happening in the future? Well, for one, I didn't read the body language signs. You know, even me, I still make mistakes. But it's more so because I had to leave versus like trying to work with him to have him come. And it was just a culmination of events where he was putting his head down, he was backing up, and naturally what a bird's gonna do, they're either gonna fight and attack you, or they're gonna fly away, or they're gonna try to remove themselves from that like scary situation or that unwanted situation. So what I kind of would have done in retrospect is maybe have him come over, present to him like a treat, and say, hey, you know, come to me. If you do, like, I'm gonna give you something that you want, and diffuse the situation that way. So I always just try to learn lessons and say, how can I do things better? And it always kind of serves to remind me is like, we can't always do what we want and kind of like ask our birds to do what we want all the time. It's more of like having that middle in between and saying like, hey, will you do this for me? And if you do, like, maybe something positive is gonna come out of it, and then just kind of reprogramming him kind of that way, or our birds that way. So basically what I start doing at this point is I basically have him come over to me versus me trying to ask him, good bird, I demand you to step up, or tell him I demand you to step up. It's more of like, you know, you see me put him down here, I tap my finger, he knows what that means. If you come over here,
you're gonna get a click, a reward, and now, even in this situation, I'm basically retraining my bird to come toward me when I tap my finger if he wants to.
Good bird. So normally there I would click, give a reward, and then I just kind of make it a repetition. Off you come, and he comes over. Oh, you did a little wings for me too, okay. And a little snack.
And then when he steps up and he comes that direction, he's gonna get rewarded for that, as you can see here. And basically I'm doing a couple of different repetitions of this. He does a little bit of wings even for me there. And yeah, basically that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working on this as part of my kind of training session routine here and there, or maybe for a few weeks, to just kind of get him really used to, you know, instead of me forcing my hand, or not even forcing, but putting my hand toward him, as you saw earlier, to ask him to step up, maybe being able to tap my finger and say, hey, you know, come over here, tap my finger, comes over, click reward, and now he gets what he wants. And if I need him to step up, I'm no longer having to chase him to come step up. It's more of him willingly wanting to come over because of that positive reinforcement. He's got a little bit of a dried chop from earlier this morning on his beak, that green stuff. And yeah, just a little bit of a lubby session here to always kind of remind my bird, hey, I'm a source of positive and good things.
And I'll even reward for him letting me scratch him. Good bird, buddy. So basically from there, what I ended up doing with Alfie was just making sure that instead of like accidentally reinforcing this unwanted behavior where I go ask him to step up, he flies away, and that just kind of becomes like this like negative cycle or feedback loop. I said, how about I do this? Like, I'm gonna try a little bit of like birdie linguistic programming, kind of like NLP or whatever, where basically they associate you with like something positive. And for example, what I started having him do was I would have him come over to me, and in exchange for him coming over to me, he would get that kind of treat that he wanted. And then on top of that, when he was in the cage, instead of him kind of like being shy or not wanting to do anything with me, I'd say, hey, if you come to me and you let me scratch you on the head, I'm gonna click and reward, and then I'm gonna give you this little dopamine hit of like head scratches plus your favorite treat, and building kind of that bond that way, or reestablishing that and building like a positive routine, instead of something where down the road, if I kept doing it, would be like ask him to step up, he kind of retreats back to, how would I describe it? He retreats back to his flight responses. He retreats back to his fight or flight responses, and then just decides, hey, I can fly, I want nothing to do with you, goes away, squawks, and then now it's like that kind of like negative feedback loop. But anyway, just wanted to share this quick story with you guys, so that maybe you guys can take something from it. And if you're in a similar situation, just coming at it from that mind frame of, hey, no matter how good we think that our bonds are with our birds, we have to make sure that we maintain those bonds. Quality time, I always say, is more important than just like quantity of like being out of the cage, and just making sure that we're not just seeing, you know, like our birds as like just like a pet, but more as like a friend or companion. Very much the same way that, you know, people see dogs. And because ultimately, like, birds are very, very social animals, right? They're not meant to be alone. And the more that we don't interact with them and leave them be just to themselves, like, the more that we see like destructive behavior and situations where maybe there's things like plucking or screaming, or they revert back to their natural tendencies, which is kind of like maybe not to trust humans or not to really want to be around them. So anyway, just a really quick story there that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys have had similar situations happen. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Alfie and I signing out, who's currently looking for snacks. See you guys next time.